In the movie A Few Good Men, Tom Cruise is pinned opposite Jack Nicholson, a Marine colonel who's being accused of ordering a code red which caused one of the members in his troop to die. Now, throughout the entire movie, the same incessant, annoying question gets asked, and that is, did you order the code red? Did you order the code red? And in speaking of these hearings, how much listening was going on in these hearings? What's the difference between hearings and listenings? When trying to look at the differences in hearing and listening, we stumble upon a quotation by Tina Fey today. The difference between male and female comedy writers is that male ones are taller and weigh more. That makes perfect sense. Of course it does. Wait. That's not true. Doesn't make sense. It's not true. I interpret this quotation to mean people hear, but they don't listen. Now, I agree with this. I agree with people hear, but they don't listen because of two main reasons. One, people don't want to believe what's happening. And secondly, listening is hard to do. But let's go over my first point here today. People don't want to believe what's happening. The first example I'll point to can be found in the World War II carrot ruse. Now, this example is given to us by the German army who were shooting down missiles and given you-know-what to the European nations, mainly England, during nighttime missile bombardments. Now, technology advanced also during the war and allowed England to create a radar system which could track the missiles, which stopped them from hitting England all the dang time. Now, we know from this that what had happened. The carrot ruse was spawned about by European propaganda when German army looked for an answer as to why their missiles were getting shot down. The propaganda stated that carrots had vitamin A, which had beta-carotene, which was helping their boys see better at night. Now, while that is true, carrots are good for eye health, and the vitamin A is good for eye health, does not mean vision. Anyone with any sort of sense would realize this, correct? But in this case, not correct, because the German army never figured out that it was the radar that was causing the issue, and secondly, bought into the propaganda, or bought into it long enough to realize they couldn't believe what was happening, so the carrot ruse seemed like the most logical explanation, because who would have ever thought a radar? In the first example here, war is reality. But the second example points to art, and if art is real and war is reality, then let art look something like the real thing. People hear, but they don't listen. It's because they don't want to believe what's happening. This can be made no more clear than the denial found in Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Buzz Lightyear in the movie Toy Story was a space ranger who could not believe he did not possess the ability to fly and was not a space ranger. People told him time and time again, and he heard, but he did not listen until he faced the ultimate dismemberment of his arm as he leapt off the stairs during the nice Woody Allen song, and he laid in disgrace. So whether we see the examples here in the World War II carrot ruse or Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story, we can see that people hear but they don't listen. Can be because they just don't want to believe what's happening. Now let's walk over to my second point here today, and that's listening is hard to do. The first example I'm going to point to is women's suffrage. Two leaders of the cause in the United States, Susan B. Anthony and Lucy Stone. During a rally in 1852, Lucy Stone actually inspired Susan B. Anthony to pick up the cause of women's rights as well. Unfortunately for these two individuals and all their efforts in the 1800s did not come to fruition long enough to see them through as well. Susan B. Anthony died in 1906. Lucy Stone died in 1893. The women's suffrage, or the women's right to vote, was not passed till the 19th Amendment in 1920. But throughout that, not just women's suffrage, they also fought for equality in women. But this goes back to centuries-old traditions in North and South America of the patriarchy society. And throughout this entire time that we've evolved as a nation, we know that women's rights have been one of the leading causes to fight for. And we also know people hear, but they don't listen. And that's because in the case of women's rights, for hundreds of years, it's just been so hard to do, to face the inequality, to face the problem, and to do something about it. So in the case of women's suffrage, we can see listening is hard to do. But listening can also be hard to do in another form that takes place with a little monkey in a cave of wonders in the movie Aladdin. Now, in the movie Aladdin, this spirit beast told Aladdin and his pet monkey Abu, don't touch the treasure, don't be tempted. They get in there, what does Abu do? First jewel he sees, he runs to it like he wants to touch it and take it for his own. Aladdin screams no, but Abu heard but couldn't listen. Because listening was so hard to do, he touched the jewel, it melted, and the Cave of Wonders swallowed them and kept them beneath the dunes of the Arabian desert. So in both examples, women's suffrage and the Aladdin, Abu, Cave of Wonders, we can see listening is so hard to do. Which takes us back to our quotation. The difference between male and female comedy writers is that male ones are taller and weigh more. I interpret this to be people hear but they don't listen. Because they don't want to believe what's happening, and because listening is hard to do. And when going back to the hearings of a few good men, did you order the code red? You're damn right I did.